Joe, and he talked it in a very, very straight line. You could not go around it. You could not sort of downplay that kind of challenge. You had to face that challenge and you had to respond to it. At that time, I was still a student, a fairly young student, 1982, that's more than 40 years back. I had just finished law studies, and I was missing something in law studies, and that was the entire idea of justice. Now, you might say, but isn't law about justice? Well, I can tell you, at least at that time, it wasn't. It was about laws. It was not about justice. So that was my approach to Rasta, first before I listened to that album, and then to Mutabaruka, because he was putting the finger on the injustice happened and committed to black people from mostly Western nations, not only. Of course, I'm well aware of the Arab slave trade and so forth, but particularly in the context of colonialism. I think it influenced me, in fact, to move into anthropology, to take up that other angle of justice, in the sense of fighting against injustice. And then, yes, in a nutshell, I first encountered Mutabaruka at the Renaissance Church in 1984. I believe in our book there are images from that particular concert.
I don't recognize it now, but that's in there, man.
You can see a very, very young Mutabaruka dressed in all white. And when I was backstage and I could take these pictures close up, and it was a breathtaking performance, in fact. And then a few days later, I saw Mutabaruka live in the location of the opening of the Naya Bindi Center in Pitford. And as I remember it was at least an hour-long talk, talking to Rasta about critical aspects of Rasta. And that was a completely new angle to me, because here I could hear for the first time the public intellectual Mutabaruka would become much later in his life. And I think so in a way, it's a book on a person, on Mutabaruka, and how he uses that important medium, IRFM, big up IRFM, I love that channel, if I may say that at this point, how he uses that medium to actually become something like the conscience of Jamaica. And he reaches not just Rastas or ordinary people. He reaches, of course, the elites, intellectuals from the university, people like Professor Caroline Cooper, people like the late Professor Barry Chevans, and many others. And of course, even politics. They may not admit it, but I'm sure they are listening to Mutabaruka. So we too, and then of course with the consent of Mutabaruka himself, we decided for that title, The Verbal Swordsman. And yeah, it's symbolized by Mutabaruka drawing a samurai sword, a katana. And yes, a katana, it said if you put it to a piece of paper, right,
it was my man.
and you don't even use much power, it cuts through. And that's basically what Mutabaruka does with words. Of course, that's quite, how should I say, a dramatic title, but we felt if we talk about Mutabaruka, the folk anthropologist, which to my understanding he is,
but no disrespect other than that. Everything's good.
Digging up the roots of social ills and problems and issues in Jamaica and the Caribbean, people would say, what? Anthropologists, archaeologists, so it wouldn't be maybe that attractive. That's what the title is about, and that's actually how two Austrians challenged by Mutabaruka came to go deeper into what he is saying and then decided to co-write, co-author a book together, jointly, with him.
And basically we have 7 chapters. So the first chapter is about Mutabaruka. He gives insights on his own